Streaming. We are streaming. I'm supposed to be applying for streaming jobs, you know, but I'm not doing it because I hate it. I don't hate it. It's just like, break. It's been 2 weeks, dude. I'm having a job. It's just like they define what is work and what is not work. How am I supposed to free myself from their authority? Okay, I'm an artist now. The domination of my parents. What can I say? What can I say? Okay, I'll find a job. I'll find a job. Do not worry. I'm streaming right now. I'm maybe unemployed, and I hate working, but you know, we're here. We're clearly here, so not doing it. Not doing it. I'm doing it. I'm just complaining a bit too much. Okay. So, what do we do today? What we do today? Let's say hi to the Discord, guys. Subscribe, like, and be awesome. What about that? What about that? Being awesome is pretty awesome if you ask me. I don't see Nick there, so I don't think I'm going to like do the political iceberg, which I was kind of tempted to do. But you know, he's not there. Nick is not there. Not there. I was supposed to stream yesterday, and like it kind of just fell apart. So I guess we can go on Twitter. I guess we can put some music. You guys want to listen to some music? Well, I just yap. That Twitter, but stuff to do. That is the spontaneity. That is the spontaneity. Okay, I have no plan. I just go in. My Twitter is getting like just cancer now, so it's like it's not always. It's not going to give me the things I need. Not happening. Not happening. You guys can listen. Bass. It's fine, not too loud. There we go. There we go. Is there something I can do now? That is pretty cool. No. I was like, oh, I could play some music. Nope, not happening. Not happening. What could be interesting to do right now? What would be a good thing to make myself do? Explore some music because that's the best thing we could do. iPhones. I don't even hear the music. I hear it. Maybe like some LSF. What about LSF? I want to see some drama. Maybe that's going to be fun. Maybe it's going to be fun to just look at some clips. And that. Oh yeah, I know about that. It's just the chat was going crazy. First Twitch stream went as well. Well, was he actually like interacting with this chat, or was he just like kind of like there's a chat, but he's not like interacting that much with it? Like it's not streaming at this point.
Okay, he's not quite underground, but I feel like he never really broke through into the mainstream in New York City. There was a.
Let's see. Let's literally just go into like see the VODs. Let's literally just go on the VODs. I feel we can like try that. Trade Web Market Inc. What's happening? USD market is going so great. We're so rich. That's how you can value how society is going by how its market are going. If the market goes well, people are happy, right? That's how it works. Not about like whose money is actually going on, but on daddy. On Moon Danny Moon. New York mayor, I think that was just a thing. New York mayor.
You cropping? Oh, you know, you're healing.
I don't want you to go through it, like what kind of stuff he had. I followed, where is it? Here we go. It was only 40 minutes. It wasn't that long. Gas and chatters. Music that's getting... Oh, here we go, some old ass jazz. Okay. Some old jazz. I think New York had like a big jazz scene, probably in the 20s and 30s. That would be, that will feel about right. Right? Kinda cold.
Start spreading the news.
Dubstep? Ooh, crazy dubstep. Frank Sinatra?
What's going on, everybody? 92 years ago, Fiorello LaGuardia took office as mayor of New York City. Over the years that followed, Mayor LaGuardia transformed our city. He built incredible public works and an astounding amount of housing. He protected immigrants and uplifted the poor. And he used the most cutting-edge technology of his time to speak directly to the people of New York. In the 30s and 40s, that was radio. But I like to think that if Twitch existed back then, he would have streamed too. Mayor LaGuardia spoke to New Yorkers on the radio on his show called Talk to the People. This is our absolutely shameless homage. Talk with the people. We're live on Twitch.
That's kind of cool.
YouTube,
I like
Twitter,
that.
Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook,
Just
and
porn
yes,
in the
TikTok.
chat too.
If you're watching this on Twitch, drop your questions in the chat, and I'll answer as many as I can. We'll also be posting these conversations wherever you listen to podcasts. 6 blocks. Now, 6 blocks may not sound like a lot to you and me, but if you're walking with a toddler, 6 blocks is quite a bit of time. So we're very, very excited about this because we don't just want universal childcare to be something.
Months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So honestly, I think streaming is the new wave right now. It's like going viral. So because it gives
Trying to use words that I understand.
it gives people that feel like they have a genuine connection.
Yeah, a genuine connection with a lot of bots in the chat and like people that scam childrens and losers for a living. Yeah, I love streaming.
That's why I love that you're doing it.
How do you, when you're streaming, are you typically at home? Where are you?
So people like that at-home connection, but you know what I think would be a good stream for you?
Hit me.
A day in a life with the mayor. So I think that should be the next one. Show the people how hectic your day is and stuff like that. It's just Manhattan.
The city is Manhattan, and then everywhere else is everywhere else, right? You got Queens, you got Bronx, you got Brooklyn, you got Staten Island. So you grew up in Staten Island.
I grew up in Staten Island, unfortunately. I love
Rainfall across New York City.
The mods,
Now, in most
bro,
parts
it's
of New York
kind of
City,
bad.
This was,
What is this
2
chat,
to
dude?
2.5 inches maybe. And our storm system is built for 2 inches of rainwater. As we know now with the climate crisis, that amount. It's a great lunch special.
Well, there's just talking about stuff. I could go through it, but I feel like you need to listen to it like it's a podcast almost. I feel like it's not really the format to be listening this on stream. Maybe I've got like some history vids. Probably doing here. The evolution of the Pacific Northwest Coast, abundance, prosperity.
Leo's working hard, growing. Pampers is working hard, keeping him
Prosperity and
dry.
complexity.
Only
Ancient
Pampers Swaddlers
America.
has a
That's
deep
like
dry
almost
liner
like
to keep him comfortable.
Anthropod. You know what? I want to see something. If I can get an anthropology iceberg. Is that a thing? Anthropology and iceberg. Here we go. The cultural iceberg. There's a bunch of things here that seems cool. There's 3. I'm not sure if all of them is like worth it. So we're going to kind of pick. One seems to be the most interesting. Cadet Good should be on here. There should be a reference to linguistic and derivative discipline, to mythology, Indo-European studies. Also know that deepest layers often include loosely related joke entries, but I don't remember, and coffee. anything whatsoever from anthropology. ICEBERG isn't open for suggestions. I don't want. What did they put here? Anthro-anitism, cannibal dance, liminality, manism, demonstrated totemism. It doesn't. Cultural relativism, Levi-Strauss, postmodern anthropology. It's not too bad. It's kind of a bunch of concept. Race humaine. Oh, that one. What do we have here? Levi-Strauss is again there. I don't really know that much of my anthropology. I'm in sociology, so social anthropology. That's probably like rites of passage. There's a lot of things here that they're reused into like sociology to like just study like modern society, like rites of passage. You still want to be like an adult. You're still looking through what it means to be a man or a woman. Like it's like I you know what it means to enter a family or enter like adulthood. So I guess that's still like use psychological anthropology. Probably like a thing about sensibilities. I'm watching my nephew. Really? You're watching your nephew? How is he doing? Is he the kid? Is he like still like little? You talk to me about it. Thankfully I'm different 30 minutes. Okay. I'll go around a bit. I'll watch like some history stuff. I'll wait for you to do the political iceberg, dude. Go take care of your nephew as you should. As you should, dude. As you should. Mythology, linguistic anthropology, philosophical anthropology. Indiana Jones. I mean, this one seems not too bad. There's like a lot of concept of like what does it mean? Criminology, anthropological, like criminal. Is it like just like sensibilities you're going to like study? Like okay, let's study like criminality into like old ass civilization. And again, what do they mean by civilization? Like what's the difference between anthropology and sociology? That's the thing I'm kind of confused because everything here could be like sociology. It's just like sociology, but like long time ago and like civilization that are like more. I don't like the word primal because that is not how we should like talk about these cultures in societies, but like these not modern again kind of continuity. Cultural iceberg. Let's see. Mindset, views and values, core beliefs. Okay, that's. I mean, this one seems cool. I like this one. We could like look at it like another time. I'll pull up the political ideology one. Ninja one. What about psychology? Let's try a bunch of things. Psychology, art, iceberg. Like do a deep dive about just like random shit. Understanding Freud's model, I guess like Freud talked about the iceberg as like his model for the mind. Let's see if I even like understand it a bit. Okay, I'm supposed to go into that. For now, it's like half. Cultural defense and mental disorders. Okay, that just means like it's not sensibilities. It's not because you're going to be like abrasive that necessarily you're going to be borderline everywhere. Okay, that's not too bad. Replication, crisis, inadequate treatment option, moral psychology. I think moral psychology just means like depending on the cultural you're going to. It kind of close to cultural difference in mental disorder. It's just basically like 50 years ago gay was like a bad thing. But it's like there's a certain like part of moral psychology, I suppose. Diametric model, cognitive trade-off. And that the idea of just the more your group is big, the group difference, you get into psychology, social psychology. DSM is an outdated research paradigm. Yeah, because the DSM, okay, that's not too bad. DSM is just mean because they use like a categorical system to like analyze like psychopathologies, and because of it, it's like not complex enough. There's too many modalities. Is one criteria can be like model. It can be used into like a lot of way. Extreme male brain theory. Like, I don't know what that. Identity isn't real. That's like a Buddhist thing. I guess they put it like really down. Schizophrenics are more logical. They're logical into their own system. I kind of believe that. Addiction isn't real. Yeah, addiction is just the word we put on. It's a culture thing. Morality. That's okay. That those are psychology because in sociology, I feel like these concepts are not as bad. If identity isn't real, like yeah, it's a construction. It exists, but it's subjective. Like how can I say this? It psychology sees itself into like a modern lens, and I feel sometimes it naturalizes certain concepts like identity, addiction, or morality, where these concepts as itself are more sensibilities of our modern times than anything else. Like addiction, like I'm not having addiction to water. Technically, it is like everything can be an addiction, but like in today's standard, addiction are going to be like just addiction that are like too bad into like how we're supposed to live life. You know, there's certain like it, political belief are underpinned by personality traits. Okay, that's we talked about like there's like a certain personality trait of like people that are fascist. They put it really down, but maybe it's because like I'm more sociology that for me they're not as deep. Subculture represents shared psychological traits. Okay, they go for the psych. Okay, there's a bunch of things here to be told, and it's interesting. Discuss inversion hypothesis. I don't know. Identity, political correctness, religion, racism share the same psychological cause. You could like spin it that way. Really, yeah, because all of them, there's a part of like identity into them. It's just like how you organize the world. I kind of underrated it. Big five. Empathy is social deviant. Replication, I get deviant. Deviant is like a social concept. There's not a real deviance. It's like you're just adapting to your environment. Deviance is going to depend on like the social context of what it means to be deviant. Empathy is not deviant. It's not just being like, I don't like this. Rationality is maladaptive. Again, it depends. I don't like this. I don't like this thing. I don't like this. I don't like this. My sociology brain is not liking this. If I do this here, I'll just like start criticizing. I mean, it could be interesting, actually. It could be interesting. Because like these theories here, like I know I'm going like deep down. But like I feel like if you get like a sociological approach to like these concepts, it makes more sense. Like of course like identity isn't real is going to be like a deep theme for the frame of psychology. But like I feel like identity can be seen to like so many frames of reference that I seeing that way it's not that, at least for me it doesn't feel that dark. Schizophrenic are more logical. Yeah, they're logical into their own frame. It's like there's a subjectivity to their logic. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel it all these concepts here are just too much into the social frame they used. I'll try it someday, but I think I'm going to twist this into like more a psychology doesn't know its own frame, and psychology think it's natural, but it's like a most of the time just organization from the social context. Everyone is unique, free will, learning styles, gender identity. I'm so happy to have like more of a sociological like approach to psychology. It's so better, bro. It's like the context is so important. Okay, that's a okay. What about history? History, there's probably like so many nerds that did like really good so good like oh, historical figure, is that the name of like you see history through big figures, which is like a problem because like people are just like people are pretty much like the consequence of their group. So you think these men made history, but you don't see everyone that work kind of under it or like beside. Lousy, ain't that like a guy that's like religious guy? Lousy. That could be still good. That could be like you, the first human. That could be interesting. I'm just going to put a bunch of like iceberg to explore. Weird, obscure battles. Okay, no, I don't like this. I don't like battles. I like my history when it's broader and touch a bunch of things. Weird Canada, iceberg explain. Okay, we have like cool people. What about theology? We're doing all the social science. We're doing all the social science. Theology is like kind of something. We are at war. You see, patriarchy is bad. God is not omnipotent. Salvation by work. Okay, is that like a Jesus, the angel of the Lord? Promo evil and their world is real. Okay, it's like a theology. Is theology only connected to Christianity? I thought theology was like any religion, any study of religion. Because here it seems like there's a lot of like just like Catholic quoted. The polygamy is good. It's like you could like twist into saying that. There's like a bunch of ways you can like twist. Can you explain Zoroastrianism being basically true? I don't like this theology iceberg. You see like sectors of like Patreon. Someone. Just to realize, ain't that the podcast guy? He did like an ideology one. Oh, I need to sub to him. No. Ideology iceberg. You see, he's doing it, but like there's way much. Oh my god. My neck hurts. Oh my god. The water still tastes. Let's try philosophy. Philosophy iceberg. Iceberg of icebergs. Might as well go sociology iceberg. I don't think they're going to make it. I think the thing with sociology is that depending on your university, they're going to be like really into like a specific school. Like I feel here in Montreal, like it's a lot of like French and Americans, like Goffman. There's a certain like not individualism, but like I feel like the American sociology things are a bit closer to psychology somehow. So let's see sociology. Let's see. You know, sociology is such a no one is there's no sociology iceberg. There's one on Patreon, but like I don't think I'm going to find something. Sociology iceberg explain.
La famille royale est de retour.
The sociological imagination, structural functionalism, symbolic interactionism, conclusion, the Pygmalion effect, relative age effect, doing gender, the strength of weak ties, the cultural fear. Where can I find this? This is like literally a documentary. What the hell?
We spend a lot of time thinking about the and inspiring young people. That's the manifest function. It's clearly stated, and there's usually something on the university website that describes something like this as a mission statement. But universities want to do other things too.
Functionalism, structural. It's like every structure has a reason for itself, right? It's like a kind of organs. Yeah, well, sociology maybe doesn't have like a cool.
They want to raise money from a
Doesn't have a cool iceberg.
alumni.
They have a cool
They
video.
want to acquire more real estate and have new buildings. And you usually consider yourself a pretty funny person. If the group workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chain.
Oh, I know what conflict theory is. Is that Simmel? The German guy. Like everyone has these like urges of like separation and connection, but depending on the context, the social sensibilities are going to make you not act those urges the same way.
Periods of struggle and unrest. Each of these approaches has advantages and disadvantages. The conflict enjoyers have an easier time explaining large-scale social change.
Oh, is it the same thing? Okay, they're talking about like Marx. Marx see history as like a conflict between classes. Structure history that way.
The professor teaches classes and writes papers in journals. She doesn't design iPhones or
The cache de fire. Okay, I want this because I know this. I know what Weber is talking about with the iron cage. It's basically saying like now capitalism is so big that it's like bigger than us, so we're kind of stuck into capitalism. We don't structure capitalism. It's bigger than us. Okay. Well, nothing much there. What do you do now? Steve Jobs interview.
Stephen Jobs figures heroically
Look how close to the heritage this guy is.
in the history of American entrepreneurship. At the age of 22, he founded a company called Apple Computer and proceeded to grow it into a $2 billion business.
Oh, he's so Apple core, growing like carrots in the ground and just picking them up.
In the spring of 1980,
That's good for his image. Why is he like in a white shirt? Like he's going to be dirty, dude.
he lost a power struggle inside Apple and left the company he had created. He spent the summer considering his next move and resolved to begin again. In September, he started a new computer company with his own money. With characteristic flair, he called it Next Incorporated. This morning, at its offices in Silicon Valley, California, the company is about to get a first look at
What
its
time
new
is it?
trademark.
96. 86. So right around the same time as Bill Gates too. Around that time. I think Bill Gates started his thing around that time, right? With like his DOS system. With like working alongside IBM. Did he work with IBM? I don't remember.
The signature it hopes to make familiar
But
around
I feel Steve Jobs and like Bill Gates were like the two guys that kind of started like the whole tech thing in the 80s with computers. They were not working the same way. I think like Windows is just like a OS system. Then like I think Jobs is more about like the product itself, the whole computer. Even if it built his own OS, Apple does have his own OS, right?
the world. The designer, Paul Rand, created the logos for IBM, Westinghouse, UPS, and many others. Rand doesn't normally work for infant companies, even if they could afford him. But Next isn't an ordinary startup.
The idea is to please don't look at the back first. This is the front. And don't get scared. This is not the design. The reason I did this was to sort of floor Steve when he saw it, and figured, Jesus, $100,000 down the drain.
That's a pretty good one. What?
Jobs has had a sneak preview of the logo and loves it. As he waits for a
Colorful.
verdict from his staff, he can hardly contain his excitement. Assertive as he is, he values consensus. Most of these young computer and software designers were on the team that developed the Macintosh. They left secure jobs at Apple to follow
What?
their boss and
When was the first Macintosh? Where are we like in the trajectory of Apple? 86. What was happening in 86? Let's see. Apple 86. Apple first Macintosh. And it's kind of like interesting because like the first console, like when you think about like Sega and Nintendo, they're kind of happening at the same time. Like I think like the NES is probably that time. Arcade games are still a big thing, but like the NES is like 89. So a lot of things happening in the late 80s of like these first like 85. Okay, we're right into like video games getting like yeah, it makes sense. Everything was able to like get cool electronics from your house. 85. NES. I mean the Atari was when was the Atari? Atari was probably like 72. The first one. Okay, that is a ping pong. That's a ping pong thing. I was 72. That old. Oh, just like okay, Atari. They probably started with arcades, right? Makes sense. 75. Okay, they still made like the ping pong thing, kinda. Silly game. 75. Okay, what's that old? And the original Atari. I need that. Look at this beauty. 79 to 86, and then this didn't sold at all. I mean, I don't know if it didn't sold at all, but like, why is there like buttons? Why do you need buttons on there? Like, I'm sorry, Atari games don't need that. They need a joystick and one button. The first Atari was kind of cool though. I was like, it's so simple. The video games there, there's like a charm. Okay, so okay, I see. And 85, like I guess, like with the NES like could beat like this. How many bits were there in like an Atari? Like an Atari, like two. If the NES is like 8-bit, 2 bits. That's crazy how much stuff they were able to do like with nothing. And the cartridge themselves like are at probably like stuff. I heard like ET was like such a bad game. Look at this. They made so much of that game, but no one bought it. So they just like filled a lot of like landfills with that game. That's awesome.
In pursuit of his new vision.
So we didn't go to Apple. So I just wanted the technological context of the 86. So the NES is kind of new. Video games on the rise, because I feel at that time, maybe I'm like too stuck in video games, but I really feel in the 80s they were probably still big for electronics. Yeah, there were computers made for adult and like working, but at the same time you had to think about like those video games things. They probably were a market, you know what I'm saying, for how to use technology and how to direct technology. So let's see, Apple 86. What was happening in like 86? Maybe compare it to the Macintosh Plus. Look at this. Oh, it's so cool. Look at that. A bit of color. Look at this OS, dude. Wow. What do you have? What kind of app did you have? Okay, actually, like, at the time, do we have, like, words and stuff like that? I don't like, when you listen to, like, Bill Gates doing shit, he's like, he was really pushing, like, oh, you can do, like, Excel and words, I think. But what, in 86, were you able to do that stuff? Tools, program, edutainment? Only in article. Why is it like in German? Was there like something before that? So I was supposed to watch
Steve's goal is to transform the learning process at the college and graduate school level with a powerful computer and a new kind of software.
And we decided we wanted to start a company that had a lot to do with education, and in particular,
they were all like that. Bill Gates was talking the same way. We are making computers for education. The internet is going to bring. We don't have this sort of like discuss anymore about like how internet is used.
Education, colleges, and
especially with AI. I feel like AI is not used that way. I don't even know like what. The AI is just empty. They just say it's going to change everything. They don't even tell a direction.
Universities. So what our vision,
I guess at the same time they had to like kind of focus on these like groups because they had the money to buy like computers. We weren't ready to get like Bill Gates a computer on each table in your house or some shit.
is that there's a revolution in software going on now on college and university campuses, and it has to do with providing 2 types of breakthrough software. One is called simulated learning environments. It's where you can't give a student in physics a linear accelerator. You can't give a student in biology a $5 million recombinant DNA laboratory, but you can simulate those things. You can simulate them on a very powerful computer. And it is not possible for students to afford these things. It is not possible for most faculty members to afford these things. So if we can take what we do best, which is to find really great technology and pull it down to a price point that's affordable to people, If we can do the same thing for this type of computer, which is maybe 10 times as powerful as a personal computer, that we did for personal computers, then I think we can make a real difference in the way the learning experience happens in the next 5 years. And that's what we're trying to do. Companies come and go at the crest.
Yeah, they were talking about the same. Bill Gates was talking about the same thing with his Windows thing. It was like, oh, it's for education.
Of the wave. I mean, you know, IBM had their day way back when they, you know, they were at the crest.
In December,
How about IBM? IBM is even older. IBM is like a 70s like computer company, right? They're still making like godlike computer. Gee. I want to see the product. I want to see like history. Here we go. Oh, they're that old. Oh my god. We're doing stuff for so long. What were they doing in the 80s? Like calculation stuff? Like basic calculators? Alexander invented the dial recorder. Was IBM? Or they kind of sell themselves like that way? But they were always in electronics. Okay, so IBM was always a thing. Oh, look at this poster. This is so good. Oh, look at this. The Saturn spaceship. Ain't that the thing that like transported like a bunch of satellites to the Voyagers? Am I crazy? What did they transport the Voyagers? Like Voyagers satellites. I used to be such a nerd about like space. Like in 76? Those guys, 77. Was Saturn the spaceship? They had the golden record. I didn't even know, but like Carl Sagan made their decided the songs in there. Carl Sagan was actually like kind of cool. I was like listening to some stuff. He was like exploring some Hinduist temple and was talking about stuff. It was kind of cool. All right, back. Yo, what's up? I'm kind of going around everything at the same time. Vintage NASA C Voyager 90s solar. Kind of cool. I was supposed to oh my god, I'm everywhere, dude. Voyager mission news conference. Solar system image. 90s.
Marks a new phase in the Voyager investigations.
Look at Neptune. Look at Neptune. How pretty is that?
In such what's next the and it calls Oscar.
They just
so in this case it appears as though we have an
okay, that's like the solar. Oh my god, look at this. Look at this model. Look how cool that looks. Complementary new rings material. Okay, they're talking about like how the planets make rings, I suppose.
Attributes of the planets. One of the key questions when Voyagers,
were they still using Voyagers at the time? I know Voyagers were like 76, 77, like they said here. Look at this. The Saturn V. Look at this graphic. What is everything? Is that engineering stuff? What is that supposed to mean? Elementary guidance command, guidance computer, data, environmental control. Have you heard of Buran? No? What is that? Buran. Oh yeah, the okay, yeah. We have like the Canada have like one of these space arm, Canada's arm, whatever they built on those things. They're called Buran? I thought they were like another name. Oh, okay, that's the Soviet ones. Because I think the US made like a similar spaceship like in the early 2000s. I don't think they were used for long though. They kind of tried the shuttles to be looking that way. I guess that's a cosmonaut thing. It's a USSR kind of shuttle. But I swear, you go like, I don't know the name of like my spaceship, but like America has had ship that looked like that. Because like I know Canadian had like the arm. We're proud of our Canadian arm. This shit. Cool arm. on the. Oh wait, is the we never heard what's happening in the how would we call this again? The floats in space. There's like a bunch of astronauts in there. Cold. A bunch of people everywhere in there. Chris Hadfield was there. Canadian space singing David Bowie. Anyways. I really like this. I need a poster like that. I just want to see, like, before we go to our iceberg, I want a Saturn V to see, like, what kind of journey it was supposed to be. 67 to 73, the Apollo program. Are you a flat earther by chance? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. How could you know? The Saturn V flew 13 times. Wait, they reused it? Cool. Yeah, I know, I know. I love like the walls, ice wall. Ice wall. Ice wall, flat earth. You know, it's backed up by science, you know? God damn it, they're not. The Wikipedia is sold by the. Here we go. It's actually backed up by science. South Africa doesn't exist, by the way. Just telling you. Aliens live on the other side. They're watching us from our thoughts. Yup. That's why we think it's round. Like, we can calculate it's round, but the real reality is that there's, like, multiple arts. You know? That's kind of fun, though. Flatter, but still a sphere. That's pissing. Okay, Nick. Do we do our political iceberg? Is it time? Is it time to explore our political iceberg? Are you down? Are you down? I think I'm kind of down. Give me a second. I just need to look at my phone. It's the time. It's the time. Time for the iceberg. I posted a bunch of iceberg, by the way. Like, I'm quite blurry. So maybe we'll have to explore. There's one about anthropology that I don't know much. One about psychology, but the thing they decided to use, I can pretty much like deconstruct them from sociology. They say like, oh, identity isn't real, addiction isn't real. I don't think it's that weird. Like, I feel there's a lot of like perspective that can go along with psychology that makes sense, but they put it as something that's like really weird. Like the Buddhism would have thought something else, you know what I'm saying? And I got like one history iceberg we could do one day of just like cool people, like, because we see history from only the great people. Camera is fucked up. Yeah, I know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I kinda don't know why, dude. How are you doing, by the way? Ooh. I don't know why it's doing that sometimes. Hello. I'm saying blurry, I guess. I don't know what to do. I'm saying blurry. Get fucked, dude. Blurry time. Let's pause that. So where are we? Maybe if I close it and I reopen it. You're being censored. I'm actually being censored for being too cool. Oh, there we go, it works. Okay. Okay. Where were we? We did that thing? Because we dogged some communist thing here. So we're at this iceberg. Libertarian socialism, communalism, third way liberalism, transhumanism, technocracy, anarcha feminism, absolute blah 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 blah. Okay, Libertarian socialism. I suppose like libertarian socialism kind of sounds like something of a, you get the free market and stuff like that. The more valuing the people and their individuality, and that's the source of society. But at the same time, it's socialism, so there's still like a state or something like making sure it's not too bad. But like, what's the difference between like this and oh my god, look at this pretty flag. Everything has a flag too. That's the thing we don't think about, is that every political ideology has its own cool. Libertarian socialism is an anti-authoritarian, anti-capitalist political philosophy. So I guess you could be libertarian without capitalism. You're like free liberty, but like liberty doesn't necessarily mean capitalism. So, both state control and corporate power, and advocate for workers' self-management, cooperative ownership. Okay, it's communism, communal stuff. You have like more low tech and like more stuff that are on the ground, let's say. Then like a structure that's like more broader. You know, it's like I think sometimes when you think about like the economy, you, depending on how you see it, it's like how are you going to distribute product, and how you're going to like have a certain like movement of resources. But here, instead of like having like a structure where there's entities that are like corporates and entities that are states, it's like a more broader thing. I think here way more into like you're going to be like small community and manage it your own way. I'm not sure how groups are going to like deal with each other with that in mind, but you see, there's the thing. Cooperative ownership is of resources. Okay, so like communes, you know, it's like resources kind of shared, but it's stuff to like maximize individual liberty and collective equality without coercive. I feel it's kind of a hard thing to like think about. I'm trying to like imagine what structure it would like be. It's kind of communes that are like prone to get individual liberty, but at the same time, it's like I have mixed feeling about it. I don't have mixed feeling. It's just I'm trying to like kind of like mentalize it. I'm trying to see like the layers in that. Like as an individual, what your collective life will have looked like, and like on a broader scale, how the communities will deal with each other's inside of that sort of like ideology. What's your mixed feeling about that? Do we wait? Is that a good flag though? The flag kind of goes hard. Just two colors like that kind of goes hard. Red and black, like. See, there's way to like be a libertarianism. I feel like libertarianism doesn't necessarily means capitalism. It just means like being kind of free of doing whatever you want. Almost like Papua New Guinea. Really? Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea. Yeah, kinda looks at that. Dude, the Papua New Guinea flag kinda looks awesome. Oh my god, there's so many like languages? Oh, look at the emblem. How is it looking so cool? The bird. Crazy. Doing a split. Okay, they share colonialism, okay. I want to see the thing they had about like the languages or their cultural group. That was kind of cool. Where is it? Where is it? Where? Here we go. Look at that. That's actually kind of dope. Language families. So you see how much like subgroups there is in there. You see? There's so many like little cultures in there. Probably native, right? Strange language families. They don't know? Is it because like it's still unexplored? It's like in the country. Austronesian, Trans-New Guinea branch isolates. Okay, linguistic. That's kind of awesome. That's kind of awesome. Okay, Well, yeah, libertarian socialism. I'm trying to like kind of mentalize like how it would feel on the different layer of like society, like groups and individual style. But I understand like the principle of like how you should be able to live, because you don't necessarily need capitalism to like structure yourself while still maintaining like a ideology where freedom and like individuality is like still really pushed forward, right? I guess it could make sense. Communalism. Okay, communalism is, I think, more into the idea of it's similar to what I imagine like libertarian socialism to be. It's just going to have a lot of like emphasis to your community, and most of the thing is going to come from it. It's not communism. Communism is different. I think communism is more broad than communalism is like more small groups. You're going to just be your little family or something. Multifaceted term with just a different meaning, and that's the thing too. Like, communalism means so much different things. There's so much ways to like approach it. It resembles communism? No, I don't even think. I think you could have like a capitalistic like communalism. It's just like the emphasis over your attention is over like how you're going to take your groups. You know, here, take the example of like Occident versus Eastern countries. They're here, at least the way that they talk in here, we're going to really put an importance over like the individual person and the liberty of the individual self. Your unique self. Well, I think communalism, there's a bit more of a your groups comes first. You know, your groups comes first, but it doesn't mean like necessarily communism. It doesn't mean like your group is like going to be equal to all of the groups. Maybe there's like a structure about like your group being more decentralized and stuff like that. Basically, hippies. Yeah, I guess hippies are communist. Yeah, but I think like in anthropology, a lot of like little smaller groups that. Or philosophy advocates for a decentralized, stateless, and classless society. Okay, you're kind of anarchist too. Or shifted away from traditional nation state and placed into the hands of directly democratic face-to-face citizens and local communities. It's just like you're going to be like your own family, 100 person or something, and that's going to be like where the power is going to hold. I think there's also that aspect that we don't talk about. It's like, where is going to be the power? Where are we going to put the power? Like I feel in capitalist and like or more democratic society that they're not anarchy, the power comes from the state, and I guess if it worked correctly, like you know, the vote and like your political people, and I guess corporatism today. Like I'm not going to, we're not going to pretend. There's also like a lot of power into these like. But like here with communism, I think the power, not the economy. Communism is more about like the economy aspect to like everyone as equal thing. Communism is like the power is more central to like your own little community. So APs, I would see like a little like First Nations people kind of being communalism. It doesn't really approach like economies. I think communalism could be like as much communism than capitalism. But there's values, mutual responsibility, cooperation, common good, for individuals. So there's still like values over like. So it's going to impact the economy anyways, because the economy cannot be like that away from the social dynamics. It's so complex. So complex, especially like it's such a broad term. That's the thing. It's so broad, it can be twisted in any way you want. It's just like, yeah, it's still a frame. Oh my god, look at the standard 5. Third way liberalism. Third way liberalism. Third way liberalism refers to third ways of centrist political ideology that seeks to synthesize center-left social policies with center-right economics. Okay, it's being centrist. Third way is easy. It's just you're going to be socially left, or you think the market should continue its thing, being free. Okay, I see. Yeah, just the free market, but at the same time, like, yeah, don't be racist. And we need to push like gay rights and trans rights, I suppose. It's like basically like a liberal. Liberals are that. That's actually they're just liberals, dude. Like Look, my opinion is that you cannot really be too much into like the free market because the free market has such bad consequences. Like it doesn't all it's not able to reproduce itself into our values we're giving ourselves. But I guess liberals are like kind of like, oh well, you know, it's not too bad. Liberalism. So they call it third way because like what was the second way? What else do you propose? I propose it's not free market. I think we need. That's the thing. We need to be careful. I think I'm able to like criticize the system, but I don't have a solution. I think it's important to all those criticism and like not forget about them. But I'm not into the position to really think about other thing. I mean, it comes, you know. That's the thing. Sometimes you're going to like have a criticism that's going to hold its truth, and you're going to be important to wait. Like I don't have a solution. That's way too complex for me. Like there's more people, you know. I'm not sure what would be better, but we need something else. So, innovation. I don't know. Your mom. What if we put your mom? I love your mom so much. Put your mom in power. I think that's my solution. Okay. We put her on power because she knows. She knows. Okay. Transhumanism. Okay, that's easy. That's just the idea that, especially today, merge with the machine. I feel like you go like 10 years ago, it would have been like as it would have been like too sci-fi. But the more it goes on, the more like we're getting there. I feel transhumanism is going to be like a dialogue we're going to have like in politics like today. Like, do we merge with AI? Can we like even the looks maxing? There's like an element of transhumanism to looks maxing. It's like can you change genes and stuff like that? We're getting to a point where like our technology is actually able to get that. So yeah, transhumanism. It's in the name, and I feel it's getting like way and way more bigger, especially with like fucking those rich guys. They're like disconnected. I think like transhumanism is good. In some way, we're already like transhumanist. We're so connected. Like our cognitive loads are so alongside technology that in some sense we're already like more than human. Okay, we're already like kind of one with the machine. Not directly, not physically, but there's a way to like interpret the world that you live alongside the technology. So, you know, I use my computer. My computer helps me thinking. My brain knows when to offload energy to the computer and like when it's my turn to work. So there's an element that's already there. Okay. Technocracy. Technocracy just basically means that people in power are going to be the one that are going to have technology. Technology is going to like be the thing that's going to produce power in the nation. And like the people that are going to hold the technology are going to be the one that are going to hold the government. Where decision making power is delegated by technical experts such as scientists. Yeah, that thing too is like technology is a solution from everything. In today's world, we're pretty much at that. Like when you're going to like try to assess a policies, it's going to be through the frame of technology, which there's cons and pros. There's pros, but there's also cons. For example, I feel like one of the way we can really see the technocracy being like in use is with the environment. Even if the technocracy is like one rationalities we have as a society, I feel we also have a lot of like economical like approach, which I'm not sure how I could like economy-cracy, bourgeois-cracy, money-cracy. Like we think also like in mean of like is it good for the economy? Yeah, okay, there's like one that's like, okay, we can use technology. Technology is our savior and going to give us the answer. But the other sense, there's also like the economy too. So there's like this dialogue between like these two rationalities we have a lot into our culture. Of like, the rationality we're going to like assess our problems are through technology and the economy. If the economy good, more good. If we have problem, technology good as scientists. But there's also like a certain like problem with that. It's like I feel like being like in such a big technocratic like rationality over technology is that now we have like this movement of like being anti-technology. You know, like with COVID, you're like, oh, I'm not trusting a scientist because they're paid actor. Is this silly? I don't think it's silly. I think like as people, because we don't operate into like the government, but like people that work into the government, those are the rationalities they're going to like kind of live each day. And even like at school, the way they're going to like offer you the program is going to be into like these logistics, into those rationalities. Does that make sense? It's just meaning like technocracy is like we're going to like use the technology as a rationality to approach problems. But you know, it gives like power over decision over like the science class. Even if now I feel like in some sense, because we gave too much power to the science class, and universities is kind of a backlash with the money class, kind of. You're giving the power to only the people from who or to feel it's not gonna work. You need more perspective. I mean, yeah, it's a good critic. It's a good critic, but like more perspective means more complexities. More complexities needs more dialogue, and I feel like as people we have difficulties with those things. I agree with you, and I think it's one of the process to get like a better democratic system. But for now, there's like we have like a couple of rationalities that are always going to be like more prone. That's why the government, you're going to always see the government kind of work alongside the companies, the corporation, you know, especially since the 80s. They're going to be the main frame the government are going to use. The people working inside the government, the political parties, they're going to be like the main thing because it's more easier to, it's more explored. You know? No, I agree. You need to like also like see like what communities needs to say, but that becomes like harder. Like you need like system in place to actually give power to like other people. You know? It's one of the reason I think like in today's society, maybe less today, but like we were so big into like, oh, we need to give place to trans and black people into like our medias. It's not like cutting down the reproduction of the inequality, but it's like a part of like trying to give more power to other rationalities. Like, yeah, today's technocracy and today's like more economical, but like you go 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you could probably have like a rationality into like government that's like more religious. It still exists. And there's a way to like counter like technocracy by using like more traditional like thing. And again, it's the idea of technology as the reason, not democracy. So there's also like a power dynamics that comes out of that. It's like, no, the people that vote should be like the one that decides and represent. But if your system is like trying to build a system that's like is more prone to align itself with like rationalities that help the technology and the economy, the system is going to be built that way. So interesting. Anarchist feminism. Okay, it's anarchy and feminism. It's just putting more emphasis. Okay, you see how we told like anarchy is about like every type of domination is bad, and there's like so many types of domination. I suppose anarcho-feminism is about like the you know, one of the domination that's like the worst is patriarchy. The patriarchal system is the worst type of domination. Look at this flag. Flag fucking fire again. Two-color minimalist. I love this. Purple and yep. My feminism principle with anarchist theory, viewing patriarchy as a state as a core system of vanity, coercion, and domination. Okay, yeah. They just see as all the. I think there's like a certain thing of like of all the domination system we have. You know, like when I say domination system, you could see it as like, oh, the state has a certain power over you. Oh, capitalism has a certain power over you. But for feminism, like the patriarchy, the gender like division, and all the gender dynamics are they going to be the main like domination thing. Pretty easy. A lot of like ways to hold power over the individual. The patriarchy being like one of the strongest, I suppose, for these people. International liberation. It emphasizes that freedom is indivisible. One cannot fully dismantle excess without simply fighting racist classism. Oh, that's interesting too. And they talk about like if you're going to really try to fight over like the patriarchy, you kind of have to also fight the other ways that we are dominated into our identity. I think it's really like feminism and like racism and all this stuff is like a domination over the identity. What you can be and what you can be, which is like in a certain sense, it's like really libertarianism. You know, it's like individual freedom, but like in our context right now, there's like certain identity they're not going to be equal, like being a girl, being a guy, colors, blah 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 blah. Okay, so there's also like a certain like activism of like, oh, if you want to really be able to like dismantle the patriarchy, you need to also like kind of go for racism and classism, heteronormativity. Okay, yeah, I see. Interesting. Absolute monarchism. Okay, well, I feel like I have more stuff to say about anarcho feminism. It's just like I'm not sure. What was I feel like there's something like in me that's like, oh, it needs to get out because it's interesting, but it's not letting me. The brain is not letting me. So I guess we'll just move on. But yeah. Yeah, we keep it simple. Absolute monarchist. I have nothing to say about it. Yeah, I'm so stupid. I'm special and so stupid. You think it's stupid? How is it stupid? I feel like stupid when you don't understand the dynamics that goes behind that. I think you need to like see through the frames it offers. It's really not stupid. Like I really believe like the patriarchy is like a real thing. It's like there's a way that society is going to restrict you into a certain position, and that position is going to hold hierarchies and like dynamics that's going to be unequal. It's like if we do the extreme, your parent is going to be like way more power over you. But there's like a lot of other ways that's like that sort of like dynamics can be all into like other dynamics of people together. Mainly racism, feminism, and again, don't think it's like everyone at the same time. I feel there's people that are going to be way more the image of the system than other people, and sometimes I feel they kind of everyone is the same. Which I don't think I agree with that part. I don't think like everyone is as embedded into like the patriarchy or whatever. The initial concept of anarchy is delusional. It's a great idea and ideal, but you never. No, yeah, I agree. Especially because I think domination is just like one of these things in life that like everything is dominating you in some sense. It's just there's a certain, I think, wisdom to be able to see where domination is stronger over our liberties. You know, in a society where we're trying to give the most liberty to its people and like freedom and stuff like that, you need to be able to see where there's friction and there's dynamic dance. That's about like we all having a dance, we're all having a choreography together. What part of our dance together, choreography together, is more frictionless? It give more friction to the people. So when you go into like racism and patriarchy, some people will say it's a state. Some people will say it's the economy. All those things are going to like give friction to like the sort of dance choreography you're giving to your group and the people around you. So no, of course it's impossible, but there's still like a value to like be able to see where, you know, the dance is like a big frictionless. It's like maybe we could change that a bit. Oh yeah, that's the thing I want to say. I think like we need to start to make a masculinity that's like healthy for dismantling the patriarchy, and I don't think I see that dialogue that much with feminism, because feminism like really starts with, you know, the gender of girls, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it can be masculine but not be patriarchal. I think the real problem with the patriarchy is men's have a archetype of being a man that is patriarchal when they need a archetype that's masculine. Masculine doesn't mean patriarchal. And I think that's where they lost so many people, in my opinion. Talking as a guy, you know, how I receive that. I'm not, you know. In anarchy feminism, wins over intelligence, the stronger wins. I don't know. I suppose like anarchy feminism is going to be like technology holds domination. I think someone that's like prone himself as an anarchy primitivism is going to be really focused on technology is the thing that dominates people. So I don't think it's even intelligence for them. It's just like we need to get rid of technology because technology is the most thing that brings people down. They dominate people more. That kills freedom or some shit. I think that's anarchy. But we're not there yet. Absolute monarchism. Okay, that's like almost like fascism. It's basically you have one guy that's the king, and he has all the power. Like, there's nothing much to say. Just like he has like all the power he wants. He's chosen by he's chosen by God. Wait, is the not South America, but like well, in the Middle East still absolute monarchy? They're monarchies, but are they absolute monarchies? Like Saudi Arabia and Oman. Why is Canada? Oh, we're still fucking with the Queen. Get out. We're still constitutional monarchy. Get out. One party state. Wait, that's kind of funny. They. You see the states. We're still an absolute monarchy. No, sorry, a constitutional monarchy. God damn it. Presidential republic. Theocratic, Islamic, semi-constitutional, absolute monarchy. Purple like that. Who has a purple like that into this world? Oh, you see, there's still like people with like absolute power. Here. Like a king. One party state. Wait, Vietnam? No, that's not Vietnam. Yeah, Vietnam. They're one party state, really? Good map. We're still constitutional. God damn it, dude. Why is the queen still here? Get out, you do nothing. One state party? Cuba is one state party? These damn communists. These damn communists. Okay. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go more into details. Like, all the powers in the hand of one guy. And even then, you could, like, defend. You could say a fact that, like, the absolute monarch, even if he has all the power, he's still, like, kind of locked into, like, his social context. Because if he do, like, so dumb shit, he's going to get himself, like, killed or something. Imperialism or colonialism. They put it, like, two different things. It's basically saying that your country is going to be able to get power over other countries. That's pretty much it. It's because you're going to go into another country, get the government the way you want it to be, so it can be alongside your line, and that's it. I think we hear a lot about these guys today because like the Occidental power kind of grew upon that. I think that there's a reason why there's a shift of power, but like the last 200 years were Occidental. We hold more of the power because we're able to get like everyone else kind of following us, forcing them to follow us. Imperialism is more like today's colonialism, like America going into like, no, we're choosing. He's there. Before it was European, but the America were kind of like do this. Yup. I mean, you could say like, you know, like the USSR is still like Occidental in some sense. You know what I'm saying? Like the Cold War is like kind of an Occidental thing, because like everything else was following alongside the big two forces. Today you could say like China has like more power now. China is doing some his own colonialism. It's like he's investing in Africa a lot of money into like institutions, building some ports in like Chile and stuff like that. So there's like a counter-colonialism, which they don't do it the same way. Like Americans don't become an imperialist force the same way China is doing. With like two dynamics of how they gotta like get you alongside their lines. But it's the same idea. It's like you take a country that's going to work for another. Like puppet states in a sense, you know? Theocracy. Theocracy? What is a theocracy? There is some governments where a deity is recognized as a supreme civil ruler. State affair and legal system are governed directly by religious law. Okay, it's just like clergies. Okay. Like Islam. So the religion is like the power. Holds the power. The kings were could you say like monarchy in some sense or theocratic in nature? when the king is like saying they're the gods and like they're following the Bible or some shit. You get a lot of fundamentalism into that too. You know, like when you follow the text as it's written. Yeah. Yeah, I guess both can be dog shit. Yeah. You just like, here we go. That's your text you're going to follow. Radical centrism. That's a cringe one. Radical centrism. Radical centrism is a political philosophy that seeks to transcend traditional left division and combining socially progressive policies with market-driven economy. Okay, it's the same thing. It's third wave liberalism. It's basically saying I'm going to be like a. They're liberals. They're liberals. They don't care. They're just like, yeah, I agree. We need to be more socially cool, but I like the free market. They're NPCs. It's the NPC policies. They're NPCs. That's how I see it. Radical liberalism, centrism, and third way liberalism. They're NPCs. They are the main thing. Look and report. No. Feudalism. Okay, feudalism is a bit different because feudalism, I think, embeds itself into like a power where there's a monarchy. But feudalism is more about the name of how the whole society is structured more than the name we're going to give to the people that holds power. Here, really, the feudalism is just the means of like there's class of people, you know, the system where there's classes. If it, there, you know, in some sense, I feel like there's a class system different in like India. There's a class system here in the medieval time that were like feudalism. Today, you could say like the class system is a bit different. Now you're going to call bourgeois class and like state whatever. But like you know, just the class system. Yeah, it regards land and law. Yeah, oh yeah, too. Yeah, true. You're right. I feel there's also a way we define the power through the land. The land is going to be the thing that's going to define each layer of the class. Yeah, I agree with that. Today is about more of the money you hold, while feudalism is more about the land you hold. That's going out to be how you're going to define your class. So that's cool. That's cool. That's interesting. I wonder like how much like it changed. Like where I want to like see history of like what happened to how did the bourgeois became like more a bigger class. Probably the noble. Where are the clergy in there? In my head, like clergy were kind of big. I guess the clergy are probably the nobles, but nobles feels a bit more like money type people than like barons. You know, it feels more economical as a class of people than like clergy. Knights are just like soldiers. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's just like class. National Bolshevikism. Okay, we're getting into the history of the USSR now. I think those are are they the guy that like got the power in USSR? Okay, yeah. So if I remember correctly, when the USSR got their first thing in like nobles, it's like intelligence, right? Probably they're in my head like the nobles were like more. I'm not sure how you can define that class, but they were kind of like the bourgeois of the time. You were like below the kings, but at the same time you hold the power and you hold like, you know, the money. And probably depending on the place in history, they wouldn't have the same vibe. So maybe like in the 1800s, they would have been all the smart guys. They would have all the power, the science. But if you go into the medieval times, they were probably the clergy or some shit. It was popularized by Honoré de Balzac. Really, I read Honoré de Balzac. He had like cool. Yeah, they define themselves into a lot of ways. I think like money, yes. They hold the knowledge, like you said, intelligence, yes. It's not intelligence. It's more about the knowledge. You're going to like hold all the power over like information. So if you know everything and the other guy knows nothing, you can kind of dominate him. So there's an aspect of intelligence. Even if I don't like the word intelligence per se, but there's a thing about they all like knowledge. They have all the books to like know how to govern. Okay, National Bolshevik was supporters or no National Bolshevik or Nazbol is a syncretic political movement committed to community ultra-nationalist and Bolshevik communism. What? Are they like communist Nazis? The fuck? Assholes? Critic? That's complicated. They're Nazi, they're actually communist. I think like Maoist? Yeah. But I think they're more into like the whole Nazi like Jew. But instead of like having like a fascist state, they're like, let's do a one state solution like USSR. But we're still like ultra, yeah, they're still like Nazis. They're still like, fuck the Jews. And ultra nationalistic, which is still like kind of communist. Well, yeah, I guess you could, yeah, they're like Maoists, but more prone to hate the Jews. They're cringe. That's what I say. They're cringe people. They're cringe people that, yeah, cringe, and that's it. Getting power through force and stuff. Yeah, yeah, they are violent, but they are also Nazis. So they get both the best world. They like, let's overthrow the bourgeois, so we put ourselves into power and make sure that we pretend it's communist. So instead of like a fascist, it's like work with companies. Because I think the Nazis were kind of working with the bourgeois class. Well, I guess like some Nazis would have been like, no, we're not working with the corporates either. So they would have put like bourgeois into the camps, where Nazis didn't do that. Those beautiful people, huh? Beautiful people through history. Imagine doing that. Okay, what time is it? It's 1. Do I continue? Do I continue? Do we go to the next level? Do we go to the next level, my child? My Nichols boy. It's not too long. I've got like also like this video that could be interesting. The evolution of like Pacific Northwest coast. Basically like old First Nations. Is it one more? Okay, let one more there. Classical and orthodox Marxism. Communist Marxists that are like orthodox, like they're going to just have more religion baked into their thing. Refer to original economic political orthodox Marxism. Oh, just Marx. How is it that low? It's just like Marx. It's just the communism of Marx. I'm telling you, they're like soft communist. Yeah, they believe like we need to overthrow the bourgeois class, but the system is going to like do it for us. Capitalist itself holds its own demise. So they're not taking arms. They could like, you know, push stuff, but they're not like Lenin. Yeah, they're just Marxist. Social Darwinism. This one is kind of bad, okay? Because like there's a psychological concept, and it used to be really popular in the beginning of the 19th century. Social Darwinism is the idea that in today's society, it's still a jungle, and the rules of the weak and the strong still applied. Still the idea of like, if you're not reproducing yourself, you should be outcast by the genes. It's still that idea, and they think like intelligence and the way you're successful into a society is a proof of social Darwinism. It's still for them like, we're still in the jungle and genes are going to be passed down. But it doesn't make really much sense into like a context of society, because society evolves so fast that the rules of the game always evolve. So it's not because you're successful into today's society because you were like born rich that you're going to be like successful if you were born like in the medieval times. So that's kind of bullshit. They're kind of just racist. They're going to, so they just want to reproduce. No, they're just going to believe like, oh, the way we dance to each other still holds that sort of like I'm stronger, my genes are stronger, and you're the weaker one. They're going to like have stuff about like race and stuff like that. They're proof of that. The fact that black people have like more crimes is a proof of that. It's just Darwin. You know Darwin, the evolution. They apply that to like our social context. Oh, so like of the Nazis. Yeah, Nazis are like the extreme of that. The Nazis are extreme of that. You could defend a world where even like in a sense saying that you could have like abortion when your kid is like malformed or something is a sort of like social Darwinism. But like most of the people that actually like believe in that stuff, they go that to another level. Okay, they're really like class, not class, but like race. They're going to like see statistic and see life as like a battle like that. They're going to really think that if you're not successful as in the society, success means you're just a stronger person or something like that. They apply evolution to social terms. Exactly. Well said, Nico boy. You're a smart fella. But that shit like became like kind of Nazis, yeah. Eugenics. You know, like eugenics. That comes from that. Eugenics, I guess, is the kind of like a third that like take roots into like social Darwinism because it was popular in the early 20th century. It was like actually a thing. Also, like eugenics, we need to get rid of like certain traits. Like, because for them being blonde is like, you know, they're kind of dumbass. They're kind of dumbass and don't understand like how we are. You know, they still they're so much into like there's hierarchies and certain traits hold more power, and like I don't know. For them, it's like nothing evolves, so it's like society itself is a product that evolves. There's also like that frame of reference that's like kind of biased, because they could say like, you know, it's just the way they value people that kind of ish really can like be mapped, and the sensibilities over how they see people kind of is close to the sensibilities you can have with racism and like all that shit. So yeah. Liberal progressive conservatism. Is that centrism? Is that the liberal? Liberal conservatism and progressive conservatism are related to but distinct syncretic political ideologies that blend right of center conservatism of value with progressive social policies or classical liberal economic principle. Both act as a bridge, tempering free market economic or strict tension with social welfare and store civic. They're centrist, radical centrist. They are a little they are NPCs. They're what most people are. Yeah, centrist. Yeah, there's just another name. There's probably like a nuance there, but like I don't feel it's that important. For me, they're just going to be like, oh, we can do both at the same time. General corporatism. Okay, that's corporatism. Is just basically saying like corporation hold more power. It's a state where those states hold power. Corporatism. General corporatism. It's just saying like that these actors hold more power. Corporates, companies hold more power. The state tightly control and mandate the creation of these organizations, stripping them of genuine independence. These are a bunch of like also like twist. I feel corporatism. I'm not sure because they seem to like put capitalism outside of corporatism. But for me, corporatism is like the structure that's going to emerge out of capitalism. A corporate state is just institutions that are made outside of capitalism. You know what I'm saying? And these organizations are going to hold power. Medieval guilds? What? Now we are guilds? Okay, maybe it's not that as I thought. Well, I see corporate groups. You have labor, military, business, scientific guilds? Okay, this is not the same thing. So what is corporatism? They're just like little groups? Okay, there's just like a bunch of groups. Bunch of groups that represent stuff, and that's what they hold in power. So if today like corporate are just more like companies, I guess you could also like have corporation that's like more focused on other stuff, and they'll still hold power. Like, oh, you'll have like a agricultural Broad corporation. Cool flags, cool emblems. They look kind of cool, huh? Family could be a corporation, I guess. Your family can become a corporation. So I guess it's not that capitalism, but more like you're going to have a bunch of groups. Different groups are different teams, I guess. Bull Moose Progressive. Bull Moose. Bull Moose Progressive. Oh, no, wait, is it? Progressive. The Moose Party. Is that Canadian? Theodore Roosevelt? Roosevelt? The Progressive Party, nicknamed the Bull Moose Party, was a third party in the U.S. with Roosevelt. No idea what that is. It's the okay. I remember that. You know Roosevelt, the guy that made like a bunch of national parks, was like fighting bears with his bare hands and stuff like that. I think he made his own party and he called it the Bull Moose. Yeah, that's his party, I guess. Everybody was for taking advanced position on progressive reforms and for leading national reformers. They're still liberals. Oh, okay, they seem like liberals, but they are a party that really stuck in their time. You know, it's a party that was like there in 1912, so they were like putting themselves into that context. I'm not sure like in what context, but I guess they were cool. They fight knives. Wonder what he'll say. I'm crazy about him. I'll soak him. They're Roosevelt fat addicts. Platform. Are they big? They a contract with the people. First National Convention. National Health Services. Dude, they social insurance. That sounds like communism to me. A minimum wage law for women? An 8-hour workday? That seems communist to me, bro. Women's suffrage? They're doing that for to win the election. They don't care about rights. See how like in the 1912, what kind of like bullshit they were dealing with? Women's suffrage was like the shit, dude. That was the thing you didn't want to talk about in at supper. Women voting? That was the thing. I don't want to be a sexist. It's not because I don't want women to vote. I'm a sexist. They got no votes, dude. They got no votes. They got 9 seed when it first out, and then they just like crashed, dude. They were relevant for one electoral like thing, and that's it. Direct democracy. Okay, so when you think about the democracy today, you go vote for someone that's going to represent your county, right? Most of our democracy kind of works that way. You know, you're going to elect a deputy that's going to be working at the assembly, right? And that's the guy you're kind of giving power to represent yourself. But there's a lot of stuff that's can go wrong with that, and that's where direct democracy becomes like another system of like representation. Um, give me a second. It's it works great in Switzerland. Wait, they have a direct democracy. I'm going to get more coffee. I'll be back. Okay. Okay, boy. Can you put some classical music for me in the background, please? But I got a C player now, which is awesome. Yeah, there were plenty of referendums throughout the years, so in a way they actually decide much more than example for you and me. Yeah, and I'm curious to see how they deal with it, because I remember also like in Belgium, they were kind of stuck with their democratic system because they were always going back for the votes. But what happened is like they kind of like nothing was happening because the assembly, the room of assembly was always like going like we need another vote. So they were kind of stuck for like 2 years of like there's nothing happening. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Azure democracy rarely exists in a pure form in modern nation. Instead, it is typically integrated in a representative system. Yeah, but like the more representative the system is, the more I guess it's direct. You know, for now it's like you kind of have to vote for like 4 people. 3 of them are going to have the rationalities. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes in Switzerland. Oh, you see, real world example. They put the United States, ancient Athens too. Yeah, but the ancient Athens, it was only like a small group. You know. The most prominent modern example, Swiss citizens regularly vote on national, cantonal, and municipal issues multiple times a year. Oh, really? Oh, that's kind of cool. The thing is that if you really want to like make a system like that, you need to give time to your people. If your people can't even like buy homes, they have no time for themselves to learn about the system and how to like vote for stuff. It's not going to work well. You know what I'm saying? It goes hand in hand with like giving like liberty to people that their work is to actually learn how to govern. Maybe AI could be like cool. If we have more time, I hope we're going to be able to be better citizen, and we're going to have time that, you know, maybe I'm just, it's a me thing, but that seems kind of cool. Imagine if instead of having like a 5-day working week, you get a 4-day week, and school gets a curriculum that's way more directed into like being a good representative for and governing like citizen or something, or some shit like that. But you need time. Like if you're going to like vote so many times on multiple issues each time, you need time to learn these things. Like, understand that takes money, that takes like good education, that takes time. But I like the idea. I mean yeah. Homo nationalism? What? Computer. Homo nationalism. The gays. That's why it works in the rich countries. Yeah. But I feel that that's where also it's like it depends on the structure itself. If the structure itself is like directed to like give you these freedoms, you'll have more. Switzerland, also the country isn't big. I think it's not that much about like how big the country is. It's about like how you're able to scale. You know, I feel like India is like still a democracy and they're able to like do stuff. It's just like sometimes institutions are so big and institutions are so long to reform themselves, to redirect themselves, that our life, you know, for right now our lives are structured around work. Schools are made to make workers. Yes, they're going to make you learn about like how to be a citizen, but they're mainly made to make you a worker, and we're still into these institutions. And that's the thing. If you want to have like a better democracy, you want to have institutions that are able to direct the power and the resources to give freedom to that. But like for so long, the states are kind of like directed for working. We're more of like a working democracy than like a direct democracy. You know what I'm saying? And even like right now, you could like have a say about like the fact that everything is more expensive, houses cost more and more. The system itself is going to push you to work more hours. Be a better worker too for like less. You know, it's stuff like that that like pushes you into like a direction over your life that's like going to give more importance to the democracy. Your attention is not going to think about, you know. Homo nationalism. Is that aliens? Oh no, it's actually LGBTQ plus rights with nationalist, imperialist, and neoliberal ideologies. What? And they're not anarchist? Pink watching? Okay, they're like corporatism. You know how sometimes companies are going to pretend they're gay? Homo national, yeah, they're gay, bro. Gay nationalism. Such as militarism or the discipline of vulnerable population. Okay, they're against that. The term is closely related to pink washing and refer to a state corporation that strategy promote their LGBT-friendly records to distract from. Okay, that's like greenwashing. They're going to pretend. Homo nationalism is just like gay corporatism. It's not actually caring, it's just showing the image. You're like, ah no, Google is gay. Google loved the LGBTQ. That stands in opposition. What? Conditional acceptance. Homo nationalism highlights how the inclusion of LGBT people within a nation is often conditional. It is usually granted only to those who conform to acceptable heteronormative standards. Oh, I see. There's also that thing. Let the gay be the gay. Dude, make gay great again. I agree with that. If you're gay, you usually despise nationalism? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm so shocked to see something. I'm not that shocked. You know, everything is nationalistic every day. It's like if you love America or your country and you're gay at the same time. I don't. It doesn't surprise me. I think like being nationalistic, like I agree, but like it's still these guys. I don't think you know. I think it's just like a merging of stuff at the same. We're getting into the point where they just merge ideology together. We're merging being gay with nationalism and queer. Queer for Trumps. I don't think that's gays for Trumps. There's a march for these members. Because nationalism is very often aligned with right wing. Yeah, I agree. I agree, but imagine like the right wing. That's like. I agree. I agree. It kind of feels like weird, but in a world it could. It's for Trumps. Yeah, I know. How great is that? There's not a lot of gay member, okay? Gays for Trump also the party called Wake Up. Gay men who are Donald Trump and MAGA supporters? I think I joined. the guy, Canadian, why is there? He's a Trump support. You know what that guy is? Like a Canadian, like cultural, like. Hey man, we're Donald Trump. What is the mega? See, it kind of exists. Like Ben Shapiro. No, he's not gay. Free market anarchism. Okay, well, free market, it's basically anarchism, but they think the market, for some reason, there's an old domination, so they're like, no, that's the free market, there's no domination in that. Free market is actually the thing that's going to give us the most freedom. Left-wing anarcho-capitalism. NCAP. This faction argues that the principle of free market can be applied universally to all aspects of society, including law and order. Holy shit! Law and order decided by the market. That is crazy. Imagine the laws are like made by the market. That is quite hardcore. You really don't believe that the market gives as like a okay. Well, this makes some sense if you think about the concept of anarchy. Yeah, but like it's an anarchy that's like embedded into like a certain like a political system. These anarchists really think like the market, the capitalistic market is going to be the thing that's going to transcend domination. While capitalism like by itself all domination. So that's funny, you could have like two anarchists, one that think capitalism all domination and the other one is like no, it's the reverse. Which is really funny. It's just like one doesn't see the domination and the other thinks there is the reverse. It's like paradoxical. It's awesome. It's awesome. No, the law should be guided by like how the market works. It makes sense. Again, it depends on how you define domination. I feel like these anarchists doesn't see free market as being a system that's like dominates. That doesn't force you into a certain like frame. It always depends like where you see the domination arriving. For them, the state's probably like the thing that like holds the more domination. Okay, social anarchism. Those are like punks, right? These fools are like punks. Is a branch of movement that views individual liberty and social equality as inseparable. It seeks to dismantle all cursive hierarchies. Okay. It's all hierarchies. From the state, capitalism, or probably like patriarchal. Any domination. Parenthood. Social ecology, a theory developed by Murray Bookchin that extends beyond economics to target the domination of nature, proposing decentralized, ecologically sustainable, and directly democratic municipalities. Hey, that's crazy, the target of domination of nature. I mean, you could have sensibilities that like holds nature as your own, you know what I'm saying? That nature itself is dominated by the economics. Or racism. You see the difference here? They don't hold the same sensibilities over where the domination holds. Your anarcho-capitalist don't see the capitalist system as something that holds domination, while your social anarchists believe in that. Civic nationalism. Political identity defined by shared citizenship, constitutional principle, and political equality. It's basically like most of a democracy, right? It's like the basis over like how we represent ourselves. It's true like a civic identity. Liberal values. Yeah, it's just like basic democracy. It's like Occidental like stuff. Most of what it means to be a citizen. It's civic nationalism. It's just like the identity of our country needs to be like centered around civics. Yeah, well, that's what you say. It's like self-explanatory. It's just like civics or the thing they're going to base on, like how you see left-wing nationalism. Again, left-wing nationalism. It's like you're going to love America, but you're going to just want it to be. You know, you see, it's like the queer nationalism. Nationalism is just you love the country and you think your country is better than the other things. But you could like be gay and think your country is better than the African or something. So it's just like, okay, well, instead of like your right-wing nationalism, it's left-wing. Ooh. But the country's still better than the other. Almost like homo-nationalism. It depends. I feel like left-wing, I mean, it's part of it, but like, I don't think like the queer don't care about capitalism. It wasn't like that much into that. Just like gay. Then here is like anti-colonial. Again, nationalism kind of like, I'm kind of like I would say confused, because being nationalistic over your country doesn't mean you really think your country is better than everything else, or it's just like being patriotistic. Because we did the difference between being a patriot and being nationalistic. Because the left wing, like I feel like sometimes they talk about like patriotic left wing thing of being like anti-colonial and like all this stuff, but like there's no like embedded like hierarchy between the countries. Well, I guess there's a thing here. You could say like, oh, the colonial countries are less. I guess like left-wing nationalism is more like South America and stuff like that. They're going to like see America as like this thing of being colonial power. So I guess there's still like old certain hierarchies. Just like America is going to be like the countries that are going to be less important. Well, I feel like right-wing nationalists are going to be like, oh, the poor countries are less good. Oh, now we get like a cool thing. Esoteric. I think nationalism is much more strict and it's leading towards fascism almost at times. Yes, if you up the severity, but I think like in its foundation, nationalism just means your country is better than other countries. So you could like actually add like a thing that turns into like fascism, authoritarian. But like for example, like the Nazis were just like nationalistic because they think Germany is better than any countries. But I could see like a South America like country, like Cuba or something, like, or maybe not Cuba, but like Iran or some shit. They're like they're going to be nationalistic and they're going to say like America bad, and that's going to be where the nationalistic views are going to hold. But yeah, of course, because you up the hierarchies, you up like the difference between like the countries, and just that structure, that story structure, like holds more power into like a you know us versus them. That like you up the severity can like become like something else. Esoteric fascism. Okay, you see. Fascism can be like a lot of colors, but like imagine if your fascist movement is based upon weird occult religions, then that's we're kind of there. But they're gonna think America is bad because of imperialism, not because of being nationalistic. I think like yeah, you don't want to confuse imperialism and nationalistic. I think being imperialistic it just means your country is going to try to get other countries be a bit like puppet states. They're going to work alongside the lanes you're choosing them for them. While being nationalistic is just like this framework where your country is better than any other countries. Your country could be left-winging but still think it's better than other countries. Or it could be like the reverse. You could be like nationalistic and fascist and think your country is better, but like it's not because you're right-wing then it necessarily means you're more nationalistic. You can have like a left-wing country that still think it's better. The USSR, think about the USSR. Clearly, the USSR were kind of fascist. You know, they were authoritative, but they clearly believed they were better than America. They had like so much propaganda over. So it's like a bit more there. Yes, and they hate America for being imperialistic. Yeah, and in that framework, they're going to be nationalistic into that framework. I agree, like being colonist is really bad. You know, I'm against imperialism, but there's still like a nationalistic element to this. Like we're better than them because like they're imperial forces. So there's still like a nationalism like embedded into that. We're better because they are imperialist. We're better because we have like markets that are better. Going to that way. The same way the Americans going to be like, our market, our free market is the best one into the world. That's nationalistic. We are the leading of democracy. You can have the reverse, but instead of like right-wing values, they're going to be left-wing values. We have like a market that's like able to be equal. We are not imperialistic than those damn Americans. It's more of that approach. So nationalism is like just loving your country, thinking it's better. It doesn't matter the type of system that your country holds. You just think that system is better than the other ones. Your identity as your country is better. You can be a monarchy. I suppose you could be a monarchy and be nationalistic. So yeah. Now we're getting to cool stuff. Esoteric fascist. You know, like our political system are always embedded in a value system. You know, like we think back about agrarian and we think back about like liberalism and civil rights and all this stuff. These are values that are going to build a political system around them. What if we getting religion when you have like a religion like state? You know what I'm saying? The values are going to be like from the sacred books. What if we get funky and instead of religion we get like esoteric stuff? The Nazis did that. For them, like they have this system of like flat earth or some shit. That's esotericism. Political system around that. You know, the Aryan, that's like esoteric. Like it doesn't mean nothing. Black Sun and the Aryan, you know, like 88. Oh my god. In the book Black Sun, Nicola Clark reports how Carl Jung described Hitler as possessed by the archetype of the collective Aryan unconscious and could not help obeying the commands of an inner voice. That's crazy. In a series of interviews between 36 and 39, Jung characterized Hitler as an archetype, often manifesting itself to a complete exclusion of his own personality. Hitler is a spiritual vessel, a demi-divinity, even better, a myth. Benny Mussolini is a man, the Messiah of Germany, who teaches us the virtue of the sword. The voice. Okay, he's just saying basically, they had like an archetype, they had like a concept. He was like kind of trying to be like the vessel for, even if that archetype is racist. It's made up bullshit to make yourself feel superior to others. Yeah. Oh yeah, completely agree. Yep. But imagine if you give your own soul to that system, that bullshit system. That's what happened. That's what Jung said about Hitler. Just Hitler gave himself to that fucked up system. He became just a vessel to that fucked up system. Jung's suggestion that Hitler personified the collective Aryan unconscious, deeply interested and influenced Miguel Serrano, who later concluded that Jung was merely psychologizing the ancient sacred mystery archetypal position by God, blah 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 blah. No, it's basically these fascist fucks had like an image in their head. They just became a vessel for that image. They had a story into their head. They thought the reality was. They just reproduced that image. They became a vessel for the fucked up story they were trying to tell. Like you said, made up bullshit to make yourself feel superior to others. That was the story. Okay. I think that's going to be it. I've been streaming for 2 hours. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta take a nap. Yeah. I need to go send some. Get a job. Like. Come back to that. Yeah, we get like 2 like layers. Well, 3 layers. Be like nice. Okay, goodbye. And shake. See you next.